Oh my goodness. No more flying for you. I'm sure every one of you in here thought of a time when you had a horrible flight while you were listening to that story. Our next storyteller is Gary Kuntz. Gary is from Gladstone, Missouri, Happy Rock, north of Kansas City. Gary is a winner in the Tall Tale contest. He had the shovel to prove it for a year. You get a shovel at that contest. They write your name on it. I don't know what you're supposed to shovel. Anyway, let's welcome Gary Kuntz. Oh, does it? I can come back up.
When I saw the lights flashing in my rearview mirror, I just had a feeling this wasn't going to turn out well. I was headed down to southern Missouri for my father-in-law's funeral, and my mother-in-law had asked a favor. Of course, I said yes. The favor was, could I drive my father-in-law down to his funeral? It's $1,000 if you die in Kansas City and you have to drive to southern Missouri. So of course I said yes. I figured no problem. I'll put the rear seat of the minivan down and we'll tuck him back there. What I didn't know was my wife and daughters decided, no, they were taking the minivan. And I got the subcompact. He wouldn't fit in the back seat. So I had a front seat passenger. Which explains why I was driving down country roads late at night, because I just didn't want to see this, and I didn't want anybody else to see this, and then the flashing lights, turned on the turn signals, found a place to pull off the side of the road, rolled down the windows, turned off the car, hands on the steering wheel, just like you're supposed to do. The sheriff's deputy comes up, and I know I'm getting old, but he looked like he was 14 years old. I mean, this was just wrong. I mean, he all arms and legs, but he was polite, said, "Sir, do you know how fast you were going?" 55. No, sir. Where are you going? And I thought, this is my chance. I'll play the sympathy card. Well, I'm going to my father-in-law's funeral, and it's tomorrow. And then he said, well, sir, you want to get there safely. I'm going to have to give you a ticket, driver's license, insurance. And I handed him over, and everything was going okay until he bent down and he shone the flashlight into the car. And he kind of focused on my father-in-law, who didn't blink. He said, is he okay? I said, no, he's fine. He's just resting. Are you certain he's okay? Sir, are you okay? Sir? No, fine. No, are you sure he's okay? Who is that? That's my father-in-law, Archie. I thought you said you were taking your father-in-law down to his funeral. You were going there. I am. When you hear the words, get out of the car, keep your hands in plain sight, you know that things have gone from not so good to worse. Up on the hood of the car, he frisked me. I'm telling him it's legal. By the way, it is legal in Missouri to transport a dead body, just to let you know. I'm serious. I've got the paperwork to prove it, but no, he calls it in. I hear over the radio, just hold him there. We'll be there in a little bit. It's like we're out in the middle of nowhere. We're on a county road. he decides, after he realizes I'm safe, he goes over to the passenger side and he bends down and he shines his flashlight in just to make certain. And I don't know how many people here have experience with the recently deceased, but sometimes they make noises and they twitch. And he wasn't expecting that. And that's when the pistol went off. And I yelled out, "You shot him! You killed him! You shot him!" And he's going, "No, I didn't mean to do it. He attacked me. You shot him!" And he's going back and forth like this, and he's just looking while I'm going, "Put the pistol away!" And he put it in his holster. It is an advantage of having gray hair with the 14-year-old. Put the pistol away. He says, "Wait a minute, you said he was dead. How could I kill him?" I said, "Well, how am I going to explain a hole in him?" Well, I get over and I look. He missed. Went out the other window. But he's all shaking now. I said, come on. His name was Timmy. I took him back to his car. "Come on, Timmy, let's go back to your car. Let's sit down. Let's calm down. And I'm back there, and I'm sitting in his car with him. And I'm explaining, it's okay. He's going, "You're not going to tell. This is my first night out by myself. My dad's coming to..." His dad was the sheriff. I said, "No, I won't tell. I do now, but statute of limitations." Do you know those moments in life when something is just wrong and you can't figure out what it is? You think there's something extra there, and there isn't. And then I looked up and I was thinking, what is wrong with this picture, besides the fact that I've got a hysterical police officer in a gun who almost shot my father-in-law, who's dead, in my car. And then I realized my car was missing. I watched it as it was heading down the hill. Apparently, when everything happened, he went over and he knocked it out of gear, and it looked nothing so much like my father-in-law had leaned over. I mean, it was a subcompact. It wasn't much of a stretch. And was steering it, heading away. And I just looked at Officer Timmy, and he just looked at me. I said, "Chase it." It was like an O.J. Simpson chase. It was slow motion. Why he had the siren on, I don't know. But it's protocol, I guess. And so we're going down this country road. And actually, Archie was doing a really good job keeping it on the road. I'm thinking, okay, may not be too bad, because this is going to be really difficult to explain to the insurance company. And all of a sudden, we're getting down to the bottom of the hill, and then the road took a curve, and I was thinking, he's not going to make that curve. Oh, no. And then I did something many men probably would do in a low-speed chase. I jumped out of the car and ran faster. What I was thinking I was going to do, I'm not certain. I think I was going to grab the car and pull it back, but fortunately I couldn't catch the car. And then he left the road. Well, he left the paved road, but at the curve, there was a gravel road. And he went into the gravel road, bumped around a little bit, and I got up to it, finally got next to the car, and Timmy's behind me with his car, the lights are flashing. I'm thinking, things just can't get too much worse than that. And then I was wondering, where are we? It was a cemetery. I'm not kidding. It was the cemetery. Apparently Archie was in a hurry or something. I don't know. But... And then in the distance, we saw flashing lights and heard sirens. I said, okay, come on. Come back over here. And I said, I got back in the hood of the car like that. Timmy was standing there, and the police came up, and they were asking all sorts of questions. We did not mention the gun back then. And I figured, okay, I've gotten out of it. I'm not gonna get a speeding ticket. And I didn't. But apparently Timmy's dad, the sheriff, was irate with having to get it up at midnight to go down a country road. So he did find something to give me a ticket for. Archie wasn't wearing his seatbelt. It's true. If you're driving a dead body and they're sitting up in the car, they have to have their seatbelt on. There is an epilogue to the story. 6 years later, my mother-in-law, Hilda, passed away. Her family is as frugal as she is. I had a bigger car then. I had a Subaru Outback then. Again, my wife and daughters chose not to ride with me, but she fit in the back seat. And again, I'm driving down country roads and lights flashing. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Pulled over, everything the same, just waited. Policeman comes up and I looked, and he'd filled out pretty well in 6 years. He now looked like he was 18 years old. He goes, sir, can I get your driver's license and insurance? I go, Officer Timmy, how you doing? And he looked at me. Mr. Kuntz, where are you going? I said, I'm going to my mother-in-law's funeral. And he clicked on his flashlight, bent down, looked at the rear passenger and said, is she? And I said, yes. He said, drive more carefully, sir.